This video is brought to you by Sun King Discs. Go to sunkingdiscs.com for a full selection of disc golf merchandise from all the major brands. What's up, everybody? Welcome to my review of the Paige Fierce by Discraft. Big thank you to Sun King Discs for sponsoring this video. Go to sunkingdiscs.com, check them out in the description below. They have a huge selection, all the plastic you could ever need. Tell them I sent you. They also were gracious enough to send me 2 of these so I can give one away to you guys at the end of the video, which will be this one right here. So stay tuned until the end to figure out how to enter that giveaway. Without further ado, let's get into the review of the Fierce by Discraft. So I have 2 of them here. This one's a little bit lighter weight, I believe, in the high 160s. This one's closer to max weight. Let's take a look at this one first. The flag stamp, not my favorite, but I like this one because if you turn it away, you can actually read it quite well, turned away from the light like that. So you can get an idea for what the stamp looks like. I'm not a huge fan of it. I already gave you guys a lot of my initial impressions in an unboxing I did when these first showed up, so I'm not going to touch on too much of that now, but you can see these have kind of like a, what's the word I'm looking for here? Kind of like a sunbeam type swirl where it goes out in every direction, and then on the inside here it actually swirls a little bit tighter, and there's a miniature version of the overall swirl in the middle. This one does it as well, which is pretty cool. You have like another like mini swirl in the dead center there. It looks pretty good. I think this one looks a little bit better in my opinion. I like the purple. It's a little flashy, so it makes it a little tricky to read, but I like the purple on purple, and I like the little green swirls going on there. Good looking disc for sure. While we're here, let's take a look at some flight numbers. 3, 4, -2, and 0. 0.0 on the somewhat completely obsolete Discraft rating scale. I would say I pretty much agree with those for sure. Definitely has some understability to it. This one has a couple of like pretty obvious kind of like misprint flecks in it, but I guess when it's a swirly disc they're not gonna make it a misprint or whatever, but there's definitely a few like little specks of plastic that I don't think are really meant to be in there, like that one, and there's a little black speck right there, but whatever, it doesn't really matter that much. This one as well, yeah, really pretty disc. I like the swirl pattern on this one. So all in all, I think they feel really nice. The plastic is pretty firm. Like, it doesn't really have much give. It has a little bit of give under the thumb, as you can see here. It'll give way just a touch. But in terms of its flexibility overall, there's very little. See, I'm putting quite a bit of pressure on that to get it to move at all compared to a regular jawbreaker magnet like this. You can see with the same amount of pressure, it moves a lot more. It definitely gives more under the thumb. It's far grippier. I like it better. But overall, it's not bad. And this thing definitely has a nice grip straight out of the box. It feels good, like it's got a nice soft grip to it. I think it feels better than the kind of weird crayon plastic that the Luna comes in. Personally, I like this one better, but it's still a little bit firm for my taste. I kind of prefer a little bit softer putters that have a little more give in the hand. I feel like that has always kind of been my personal preference, but of course there's a lot of variation in terms of what you like. But all in all, I like the plastic. I think it feels good. It's not terribly durable. As you can see, it's basically just as durable and feels pretty much like a Pro D plastic. I left all these marks and dirt on here to show you the honest wear that they put on this disc with pretty much just one day of field testing. You know, we had me and James testing it. We threw them quite a bit, but that's like one round of testing them a lot, putting, throwing extra approaches and short drives with them, throwing them in the field and stuff, and they definitely took some damage. Like that, I think, happened when it hit off the road. On one of the clips you'll see it skipped off the little road running through the course. This one is in a little bit better shape, so this is the one I'm going to give away to you guys. But yeah, durability pretty much on par with a baseline plastic, Pro D plastic. It's kind of like a fancy swirly Pro D plastic that's a little bit more firm than the average one you might run into in terms of feel. So let's take a look at the rim on this guy. It is really smooth and rounded, comfortable. It's got no kind of sharp edges. It's a very soft feeling disc in the hand. And also this underside here is quite flat. The angle is pretty flat this way. When you compare it to, say, this Roach right here, and you look at this, the angle is definitely more like that, where the Paige putter, the angle kind of flattens out a little bit. So when you have it in your putting grip and you actually ride your finger on that rim, it's kind of a nice flat surface to let your finger hang out on in your grip. So I like that. It feels nice in the hand. It's a little bit different than a lot of putters I've seen. It also starts to kind of slope down towards that outer edge around here, and then it comes down. With a roach, you can see it's a little bit flatter, and then it rounds over a little bit closer to the outside edge. Let's take a look at these side by side real quick. So I don't have a Luna, but the Roach and the Luna, in terms of design, are nearly identical. I mean, if you hold them side by side, you can kind of see a difference, but not really. So this is kind of representative of the Roach and the Luna next to the Paige putter, the Fierce. And definitely not hugely different, but there are some noticeable differences. Mostly the way it's a little bit lower profile for sure. It feels smaller in the hand due to that lower profile feel, and because of the way that edge rolls over flatter on the underside. Let's see what else I have to show you. I have my putter, which is a Jawbreaker magnet. Quite different in terms of design, but I'll put it up next to that just so you can get an idea. You can see all the wear on my putter there, but yeah, super different. That magnet's got a kind of strange old school design to it, but I still dig it. And then since I got it, I figure it would only be fair to show it up next to a Deputy, which is what Paige was putting with before her switch back to Discraft. So there that is. You can see the Deputy has like a little tiny like micro bead on there, and it's definitely deeper in the hand. It's more rounded across the top, especially this Moonshine one. The Prime or classic ones are definitely flatter than that, but the Deputy has a little bit deeper feel in the hand for sure, and this Fierce is quite shallow. All in all, I like the feel of the disc. No problems there. And yeah, I think it would soften up a little bit over time. It's definitely going to break in quickly. That takes us to the price. Are they worth 20 bucks for a baseline putter? I don't think so. There's basically no real way I would putt with these personally, just based on the price. We'll see what they actually end up with when they're fully released. This is still, I guess, a prototype phase of release for this thing, but once they actually come out on the market with a full release, will we see lower prices? I sure hope so, because 20 bucks for a baseline putter is pretty ridiculous in my opinion, and I don't think it would be fair of me not to mention it in this review. Let's get into the flight of this thing. I really enjoyed the testing of it. It's a great flying disc. One of the main things I think this disc would be perfect for is to get newer players started in the game. It's a really great straight flying, neutral, understable putter that would be great for kids, and anybody who's just getting into the game, just starting out, would be a phenomenal disc. But again, I can't in good conscience recommend that somebody buy your kid a $20 putter when they can get another one for $8 or so online. It just doesn't make sense in terms of that. So I'd love to see these come out in just a plain Pro D plastic with Paige's logo on there. Nice bright plain colors, maybe some lighter weights. I would recommend these all over the place for newer players looking to get into the game, for a great disc to give a kid to come out and try disc golf. Would be phenomenal for that, but not at 20 bucks. For us, this thing is very straight to neutral for my arm speed. It's definitely understable. You have to start it on a little hyzer to get it to fly straight. If you throw it flat, it wants to go right. For James's arm, he had a little bit of trouble controlling it. He needs to start it on a steep hyzer to get it to stand up straight and not roll over accidentally. A couple of times he tried to throw it a little bit more flat. You'll see it just starts to work right and kind of hold over all the way down. So it's one of those discs that if you have more power, you can kind of finesse throw it flat and look for that late turn, which is a great shot to be able to dial in. Or you have to start it on hyzer, get it to flip up, and then it'll fly laser straight down the fairway from there, as long as you don't overpower it. Inside the circle, it's very straight, point and shoot. I find it to be a little bit hard to connect with from longer range because it doesn't really want to hook up very much. I like to play for a little bit of a fade on my longer putts, but all of that's really subjective, and depend on how it works for you when you get out there and putt with it. I almost don't even really want to reference putting too much because there's so many different variations. You'll see just in the clips, James putts on more of a hyzer, up and down type motion. I'm more flat to gentle fade kind of putt. So there's so many variables there in terms of people's putting styles and stuff. It's not super relevant, I guess, for me to reference my putting, but I found it a little bit tricky to connect with from longer ranges, just based on the fact that it wants to kind of start riding out when you let it fly a little bit more. Inside the circle and in close to the basket, point and shoot, flat, straight into the basket, and it flies nice. I definitely like this thing best for approaches. I think I would like to throw it off the tee and on short range approaches if I were to carry one, but I don't think I will. The only real issue with this putter from my perspective, other than the price, is that it starts out pretty understable. So if you want to get one to throw and drive with, you're probably going to have to keep a somewhat fresh one in the bag for certain shots, because as this thing kind of gets beat up, it's going to become more and more flippy, and it starts out pretty flippy and have some understability to it off the tee. So it might be something that's a little bit tricky, and they might break in pretty quickly and start to get tough to control. But then again, I throw really beat up soft magnets that are really understable, and I know how to control them on certain shots, so it's not that big of a deal. But this thing is kind of nicely, has almost like a broken in vibe straight out of the box, which is nice for a lot of players, and I think people will dig that for sure. But it might be a little tricky once it starts to get broken in. So it'll be interesting to see how Paige does with these when she comes out and starts her season, gets a little bit more confident with her plastic. I have no doubt that she will perform exceptionally well this season with these discs. You know, everybody's making great plastic. And when you're talking about somebody as talented as Paige Pierce and how skilled she is with a disc, she could throw any manufacturer and be fine, I have no doubt. But Discraft is making great plastic, and I think she's going to do just fine with these discs. That is my review on the Paige Pierce Fierce. If you'd like to win this green one right here, all you have to do is go down in the description, look for a Google form, fill that out, you will be entered to win. I'll pick a winner at random. Once I pick a winner, I'll send you an email. I'll also post an announcement video, so you want to stay subscribed to the channel. Keep an eye out for that. Probably be in a couple months that'll come out. I'll announce the winner. I'll send you an email. After that, you got 2 weeks to get back to me, or I will pick another winner. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks again to Sun King Discs. I will check you all very soon. Cheers. Thank you so much for watching, and big thank you to all of my Patreon supporters. If you would like to see your name listed in the credits of all of my videos, go to patreon.com/discgolfnerd.